white played DE, which isn't usually the greatest, but it's very playable. And knight takes C5, liquidating too as well. You even have, I guess, you could play knight G3, and Magnus with the walk away. I mean,
the opposite.
Sorry, Magnus. The opposite. Hans with the move. That's funny. You got Magnus in his hands here. I love the psychological play. Hans just walking around, like pacing.
That is definitely a psychological play, by the way, because standing up and walking around during a rapid game is not usually something you see players do. It's very common in classical chess, but
and if you notice how he did it, he didn't do it to anyone else. You know, I'm playing Magnus here. Let me like do it for the memes and the content.
That's right. And we see the move D5 has given Magnus pause because I think perhaps he's not used to it this early and this direct. The move that maybe people are wondering about is actually E takes on D5. And it's important to point out that after E takes D5 here, if black just takes this pawn back, you're losing a key central pawn. So the whole point is before you recapture, you actually slide this pawn forward, hitting the knight on F3. And once this knight moves, whether it's to E5 or D2, it doesn't matter. You get the idea. You capture back on D5. And yes, this pawn formation is a big improvement, and actually black would have a slight advantage here. So Magnus has to make sure that he maintains the edge. Knight G3 can definitely be played, and almost every variation that we were just looking at for black, you could kind of play the same variation for white there. So we could see Knight G3, and I think at this point, taking on E5 is unlikely. So if not Knight G3, bishop to G5. Look at the difference in the position. Right? Why has Magnus gone for bishop G5? We have H3 for white, but we do not have H6 for black. So this is standing out to Magnus as a bit of a difference. He's saying, hang on a sec. D5 looks early to me. Let me play bishop G5, pinning the knight, and now taking away all the sting out of knight takes E4. If pawn takes on E4, then the knight can take on E5.
I mean, this is just a clear, move saying, I want to play for a win. It's so many ways that you can capture in the center. ED, knight takes E5, D takes E5. But he's saying, I'm going to play bishop G5 and let you take. In fact, lots of times they say to take is a mistake, right? To take is a mistake, meaning before you capture, you should be asking, is it better for me or better for them? And obviously you have to do that with calculation. But bishop G5 is saying, now you take, or are you going to blink first type of idea here, where bishop G5 is playing for a win, make you think. And now, Magnus, sip of the water, let me walk around. Your move, big fella, bishop G5, I'm playing for a win.
That's right. And obviously the players always looking to compete with one another on and off the board. So Magnus says, oh, you're going to stand up after
you
that
stand up?
Move?
Big
you
fella,
thought that was a good move? How about this? I'm standing up now.
Don't make me take my jacket off. Oh, it's already off.
He said, I'm walking around now. Look who's walking. And he sat back down. He had no reason to get up. That's pure mind games.
All mind games. It's on the board and off the board. I mean, we just need to get them some. We need to probably send them a pair of gloves. I think, come on. We should just send them each a pair of gloves signed by both of us to let them know, hey, it's about that time, fellas. It's about that time.
He knows, by the way, when Magnus took off his jacket early on, the chat probably didn't realize this, but obviously you and I recognized that was 1 point for Magnus, 1-0. And then when Hans stood up, he was equaling it 1-1. Now 1-1. 2-1 for Magnus. He got the stand up in. So we're obviously commentating on what's happening on the board, but the chat has to pay attention to the battle